Hello, how are you? So, as you know, this is pretty much me just babbling. So, if that's interesting to you, then here we go again. If not, turn this off and move on to the next thing. I actually wrote it today. I'm not reading from my notes, so hopefully I can read my own writing. So, but this is from my blog, which basically is for me, but I do publish it for people to read, but it's what I'm going to read you right now. So, here we go. All right, so it's titled, it's a very long title, by the way. The Calm That Comes After the Knowing. And the knowing that the calm has always been there to be noticed long, right? So, yeah, being calm, seeing what happens. So, it happened one morning when I noticed when nothing was wrong. Like there was nothing in my head really. I wasn't thinking about anything. Everything felt in its place. It's that feeling. It came as stillness. It came as a calm. Very nice. The ground, my patio, I'm talking about, beneath my feet, I had bare feet at this time. It was sometime at the end of last summer, I noticed that I had rehearsed conversations in my head about stuff. Like I do it, I still do it, but I don't attach to it, if that makes sense. I kind of just run through things now. But and I'm trying to anyway, I guess I should say. This is all a work in progress, but this time when I noticed, I'll just keep reading. Shut up, Rachel. I noticed I rehearsed conversations to come that I was going to have a lot less than I was, which I just said. So I was waiting less for agreement from others. I fluctuate with this a lot still, depending on my mood and my insecurity and all that. Like I said, I do that. Anyway, still working on it, but it's only certain people now that I do this with, people that are in my very, very inner circle. I'm trying to not rely on other people's opinions, but it's hard. Anyway, so if you feel like this, here we are. I noticed myself slowly realizing I didn't need to explain myself as much or even at all in some cases. I could say no as a full sentence. This is very recent. Isn't that crazy? I'm 54, going to be 55 this year, and I'm just now able to say no. I do cringe when I say it. I hope people don't see that. I'll say no and I'll do that every time. And it's hard still, but it feels good after. Anyway, it came with relief. If it came with relief, it felt good. I still, that guilt hangs there for a moment, and then the person totally understands whatever the no is, and then you have that relief. It's very nice. It's not the argument that I was expecting, I guess. The letting down of the people. It doesn't happen as often as your brain tells you it's going to. I find myself going out to this space on my patio, standing in the morning sun with my coffee, noticing clarity, grasping it so I can hang on to it for the rest of the day. And I do. I go out there and I listen to the birds. And then there's also that accompanying silence, stillness, I guess. Without reading too much into it, I do reconnect with it. It's the breathing first, then the listening, then the noticing that I can be still and be aware of the motion around me. I'm the observer, which is a good way to It's a good vantage point to have. At first, I noticed the silence of the human things. I felt far away from the hustle bustle of life. But as I allowed myself to listen deeper, I could hear so much, yet still be still and silent. Me and my patio. It was kind of a neat feeling. Two things could be happening at once, which I know I've talked about several times with Elizabeth and Rachel in our Yoga and Other Shit podcast. So I'm sorry if this is repetitive to you. The absence of noise was my noise, my thoughts, my rehearsed conversations, and no looping thoughts or dwelling, no checking my tone or scanning for reactions. Now, it is more often that this happens. It still does happen. It doesn't mean I'm like, oh, check, done. I don't have to do that anymore. It does come. I do dwell. I do loop the conversations in my head, but it's just far, far less. I just listen to the birds singing, lots of them. I've become a bird person. I definitely try to identify the birds. I have that app on my phone. It's great. Lots of different ones. The hum of the trucks in the distance. There's a house right in front of us, and our driveway is really long. But on looking off to the left is this very big open space, and you can hear the trucks in the distance. So it's not loud, but you can tell it's big and you can feel it. But it's not that often. It's every once in a while. And it's become part of the silence, I guess, for me. It might be loud to someone else, but the people that come over do say it's so quiet here, which I love. So grounding shows up as less, not more. It's smooth and subtle. And maybe that is how I feel it because I'm on my smooth patio and it's kind of warm usually. Well, definitely in the summer. Now it's a little bit cool. But out there, I allowed things to bubble up. I didn't judge them, but sometimes I would write them down. I do journal. I have stacks of notebooks here. I would write them down, though that took longer, obviously. It's harder to let go of them as you're writing them down. You have to sit with it for a little while, but not necessarily attached to them. I wrote down my feelings and I was able to let go, noticing how I felt when I did. Again, that relief and that weight that is put down for even if it's just a moment. Out there, I didn't and I don't need validation. I don't need anyone to understand. The knowing of this stayed after the feelings passed. If that makes sense, that knowing that you're in a safe, it's a safe feeling, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, this knowing. The ability to stand in this, in my power, gives me even more inner strength. I know how I am, and I want to be this person all the time. She is grateful, unbothered, and full of love, and also curiosity. And so I try to stay connected to that now. Doesn't mean I always do. No one's perfect, right? Nothing needed to be resolved for me to feel settled. I could just wonder about something for a moment and not have an answer, and it's okay. I react less because I pause first. I have slower and more quiet, more selective reactions to life and my surroundings when I do this. Meaning, when I don't do it, I have the reactions, but I can recognize it a little bit better now. It is definitely you have to be constantly mindful of it. Let's see. It feels right, and it feels like me. It feels better. That relief, that safety, that stillness. If things feel quieter lately, it doesn't mean you've lost your edge. It might mean you've found your footing. And that's kind of how I feel. I hope you feel that too. If not, spend more time. Really, don't even spend more time in a quiet room. Go outside. So there is a little kind of movement happening around you. And I think most people, when they think of this kind of thing, they think they have to like not think of anything, when really it's almost impossible to do that. As my yoga teacher tells me, that you just have to learn to let the thoughts pass and notice them and then let them move along on their way. And you don't necessarily have to get to that thought. If it's something you need to get to, not at that moment. Like, does it need to be solved in the next 5 minutes? Does it need to be solved in the next 10 minutes? That kind of thing. Anyway, that's really it. I just wanted to read that to you. It's just, again, another random thought. And that's it. I do want to talk about a book. I didn't finish a book this fast. I can't finish a book in a week, But the book that I'm reading, and I will link it if you want to read it with me, and I'll probably mention it again next week just because I haven't finished it. It would be cool. Maybe again, I will be able to finish a book in a week if I sit down. I am going on vacation next week, so maybe I'll finish a couple books, hopefully. Anyway, it is called, can I bring it up for you? I'm going to show you it, but I will also put it in the show notes. It's called Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. And that's the cover. And it's good so far. It's about this guy who he's young, and it takes place in the 90s when the war is going on, and he has his one leg is shorter than the other, and so he can't go, but he really wants to do his part. So he ends up joining this other, it's like a kind of like a, I don't even know, I forget what it was called. Now I forget what it was called. Anyway, he goes around and walks around the neighborhood just kind of keeping an eye on things, and if something's going to happen, then he's the one that lets everyone know that he is, I mean, that's something, we have to be alert, be ready, blah, blah, blah. So he meets this girl who has oh gosh, what is it? Like people that have passed talk to her. And she noticed it when she was a child. She didn't know what it was, but a man had passed away and in his car. And he was like, tell my family I'm not far away. And so she told her parents, and they kind of freaked out. And the other people, the wife of the man who was dead kind of freaked out as well. So it was like a whole thing. And so people just, she was just a little bit peculiar and different, but she was very confident in herself and very friendly. And so those two got together, and it's so far in the book, these two are kind of making their way in the world, and kind of, you think back when you were young and you first met your significant other, if you have, and like all the stuff you didn't know yet, and you're like, is this what we're supposed to do? And so it's really fun to kind of go back and be like, oh yeah, I feel like I was like that too, or whatever. So it's been really great. I can't wait to find out what's happening. Right now she is, spoiler alert, so she's having people come to the house, and she's trying to hone her skills and try to connect with these people's family members. It's not necessarily a husband or wife. It's like a son or a father or things like this. And she's trying to do this, but at that time it was, frowned upon. And so people are calling her a witch. And also she's having them come to her house. So there's sometimes in the guy with the one shorter leg than the other, he's her husband, and he's at work, and she's having like people come over to the house and men coming over to the house. And it just, at that time, it doesn't look good for a young lady to be bringing another man in the house. And she had her room upstairs. Now, I don't think anyone could see that she was going upstairs, but it was like, something that her father and her husband talked about. And hey, let's keep it down into the parlor, and don't have too many people coming, and if you can wait to have the men come. Anyway, so that's what it's about. If that sounds cool to you, grab yourself a copy. I'll link it below, and then let me know what you think of it. I would love to know if that is something you're going to read, or once you do read it or get a few pages in, maybe I missed something, let me know, and we can like have a little kind of book club here. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring in a book that I've been reading, or one that I have read, and talk about it and recommend it if anyone's looking for books. These are great ones. So anyway, I'm going to go, but I hope you enjoyed my little crazy random thought process, and I will probably maybe see you next week down in Florida. I'll bring my computer. I won't bring my big old microphone, but I'll have my little ones with me so I can hit them. I hit them all the time and make your ears hurt. Anyway, so you guys have a good day. The sun is out here in Georgia. It's like 70 or something, which is ridiculous in February. It's lovely. So I'm going to go outside and put my feet on my patio and listen to the birds. See ya.